And it's like he's studying just 20 minutes because then we have the question. Normally I do 3 hours talks or I do 2 days events. So this is really trying to condense as much as I can in that short time. So obviously it will be less interactive than a 2-day event, you can imagine, but I still want it to be interactive. As I said, your participation is mandatory in you having something that you can. I'm also really happy to have students. Normally I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and adults, and it's great, but it's good to start soon and early, and you're young, so don't wait years and years until you wake up your inner superhero. You can start now, so I'm really happy for that. And one thing is, I think most of you are Generation Z, that's I think what you call that. I'm Generation Y. And for a long time I was wondering, why do we call this generation Y? And I asked that question long enough to understand that I kept asking myself the question, why? And that maybe give me an indication, because we need a bigger purpose. We need a why. You know, all these discourse about starting with the why, it's mandatory for our generation, but for you, you won't be able to work. You come from this education where you really need a purpose, you really need a big reason, a big motivation to get started on your career and to keep your motivation. Because you're not excited by the idea of like having this 40 years career in one company. Who wants to have 40 years in just one company? Yeah, that's the dream of our parents, of my parents, maybe almost your grandparents now. So it's just not happening anymore. We want to have a purpose, we want to change the world. And that's what superheroes is about. So my question is, what is a superhero? So we can think of Superman flying in the sky. We might get to these kind of superpowers, but that's not what I'm talking about. But obviously you think superheroes, we think superpowers. And I asked you to think for a minute or two about your own superpowers. So it might have triggered the question, what is a superpower? So first of all, a superhero for me is someone who has brought all their superpowers to the maximum level of knowledge and mastery and control, and use that to serve the world. So these are these 2 fundamental parts I'm going to talk about. Your superpowers and serving the world, and the link in between. So, as I believe, again, in action, and that listening won't make any impact on you, I want you to act. So we don't memorize and we don't learn by listening. We learn by doing and by feeling. So if I create emotions in you in telling a story, you might remember more. But the easiest way to get you to memorize something is by activating the biggest sensor for feelings, the body. So I want you to activate your body right now. So I want all of you to stand up. So, just a question. Is it something that excites you, the idea of putting all your skills, all your potential to the maximum level? Does that excite you? Raise your hand if that excites you. Or you want to stay level, average, but in the middle, and I made a life. Now that excites you? So you want that full potential? Yes. Does it excite you to do something instead of just doing something useless, to something useful? Does that excite you? You want to serve the world, making something useful, especially your generation is, I think, really important. So basically, you're telling me you want to be superheroes. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So I want to hear it. I want to see, I want to hear, I want to be a superhero. So, to do that, the first thing, because I want you to feel that you're already superheroes. But the only thing now you're processing with your mind and saying, what this guy is talking about, superheroes, like, is that a Marvel movie? So I want you to experience it and to feel that feeling of being a superhero. So for that, and just because I know you're not shy and you can dare, and you have no problem of self-confidence, but your neighbor does have a problem. And if you don't dare shouting really strong that you are a superhero, they might feel like, I don't want to be the loudest in the room. So because your neighbor is shy and you're a good person, You want to be so loud that they feel that they can hide in the mask. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yes.
We want your neighbor to feel comfortable to shout out loud and not feel, oh, that was the loudest. So you want to be loud, okay? And the thing is also to make sure no one feels uncomfortable, we are going to do it at the same time. So we're going to do one big breath to start synchronizing. We're going to breathe together. So one breath in. And again. And the next breath in, when we exhale, we say, I am a superhero, and you mean it, alright? And you're not saying it to me, we're all saying that to the future, alright? All together, all breathe in. You can sit down. And that's just going to feel that we all are superheroes. We all have this full potential, and I want you to picture it as we go through the talk. So the first step is, there are three parts. I, you, we. So the first part we're going to talk about is I. Who am I? What are my superpowers? That's why I asked you to start thinking about your superpowers. And again, as I told you earlier, anything is a superpower. Who thinks they have something about the personality that is causing them harm? Like, I don't know, procrastination. Or being always late, or I don't know, not listening to one's level of energy. You have something in your behavior that is negative. Does everyone have at least one thing they can relate to? I'm just giving you a big secret. It is one of your superpowers, but you have lost the control. So for example, for me, I'm a sprinter. So the only way to get me to work is if I have a strong deadline. The only time I started writing this talk was yesterday. Because I'm like, okay, that's tomorrow. Actually, it was 2 days ago because yesterday I had a full day of work. But again, I needed to see my full agenda for yesterday to think Wednesday, I have a talk on Friday, I need to work on it. And some people like that in the room, waiting for the last minute deadline. Yeah. It is a superpower if you learn how to control it. On the other side of the spectrum, you have the people that are marathonists. They will work for a month, but then when the deadline is coming, they're in a little panic. When the other people are, yes, creativity, that's my time. So we all have something in our personality that is negative, but it's just because it's a non-controlled superpower. Does it make sense? Can you relate to that? Yeah, I want to hear you because again, you memorize only by saying things. Can you relate to that?
Yes.
Do you have something negative in your personality?
Yes.
Can we make it positive?
Yes.
Yeah. Can we make it positive?
Yes.
It's just about learning what it is, identifying your superpower. So when I host a workshop, the 3 hours workshop on the 2 days event, it's all about identifying these things. I give you the main two questions to identify your superpowers. What is it that I do that annoy other people? If it annoys other people, but it's natural to you, it's probably because it's your superpower, but they don't understand it. And the other way around, what is it that other people don't do and that bothers you? So again, because it's natural for you, but not for them. So that I invite you to keep in mind these questions, maybe writing them down. What is it that I do that annoys other people? What is it that they don't do that annoys me? It will give you a clue on what is natural for you. Hence, it's your superpower. Because for you it's natural, not for them. Like for me, working on last minute deadline, for my partner who's just sitting right here, she kills me every time because like, can't you get working now? And no, I'm my creative mode, and I don't get started. So this is the first part. I, who am I? Identifying my superpowers. Now, the second part is you. How, and it's an individual you. How do I know who am I, but do I make you understand who am I? How do I communicate my values, my unique skills? Have you ever spoken to a person and you're like, I don't understand what they want? Does that happen to you? Like, what do they want? Like, what's the point of this conversation? Where are they going? Did that happen to you? Maybe a teacher? I'm not aiming at you right now. And the problem is, it's maybe this person even know what their superpowers are, but they don't know, or worse, they don't dare showing these superpowers to the world. So, I think this is a fundamental point. You need to learn how to sell yourself and your ideas. Who do you think that's fundamental skill? Learning to sell yourself. Yeah, not convinced? Maybe you think, oh, I just have to do it once during my job interview. Bullshit. You have to do it on a daily basis. Every time you wake up, you go to work, or if it's your own work, you have to sell your ideas yourself. Constantly. The people who succeed in life are the best sellers. I'm in a business school today, so it's fine. Or if I'm going to an artist school, that would be a really big no, but it's actually, my reality is everyone feels the same. People are happy to sell things, but themselves, your own ideas, it's like, I don't dare. And I have gone through that myself so much. Because once you're in the you part, and I'm trying to convince you that of my worth, you get into the imposter syndrome. You're like, who am I to tell you I am fantastic? And then you like go to the shy mode, and I don't want to tell really, or in telling, but you're pushing, you're trying to convince of something which is not true. So I want to give you the secret of that. Here, there are only two skills you need to learn: speaking and listening. When I say it like that, it sounds easy. It's a life journey to learn how to speak properly, to make sure that people understand what you say, and listen, to ask the right question, to make sure you answer to the right problems. So for example, right now, you may think I'm speaking, but a big part of me is listening. A big part of me is listening. I'm looking at your faces when you're like, I have to see that. If I don't see that, I'm actually speaking for myself and not for you. You and you and you and you. And it's why, for me, one of the hardest part of doing that, public speaking. That's why people are so afraid of it. Because then you are speaking to so many people at the same time, so you have to speak everyone's language, and at the same time you have to listen to so many people at the same time. I need you to see your look and yours and your way of behaving, and if you're checking your phones or not, I have to be paying attention to that. And that's why I invite you to train and to put you in a situation where you go on the stage. And the stage doesn't have to be big. It can be a dinner with friends and saying, right now I'm the one speaking. And embracing that position. And who's shy and doesn't like to be in the spotlight? Just to show hands. I'm asking you to, obviously, to do that while raising your hand really high, which is ironic. You're actually not that shy, because some people are so much that they didn't even raise their hand, even though they feel that. And I want you to understand, it's not about you when you do that. It's not about me right now. I don't need to be here. I'm doing it for what impact I can create. So when you have a message, it's really important you don't keep it for yourself. When you have value, it's important you don't keep it for yourself. So if you have a superpower, it's really important that you don't keep it for yourself. You're here to share it with the world. And I'm going really hippie if you want, but that's your purpose in life. That's why you were born. If you keep it for yourself, you lost, we lost. And I'm going to the we. Because we lost. It's not only about you, it's not only about the person in front of you, it's about the whole world. At the very least, it's about your community. Friends, families, But in the end, if you create a big impact and if you shine your whole capacity, your whole superpower, it impacts the whole world. Steve Jobs could have stayed at home watching the Super Bowl, but he decided to change the world. I have a friend right now, he's partnering to plant 115 billion trees in the next 10 years. He could stay at home and watch TV, but he decided as a proper superhero that he needs to create the impact he can create in the world. And it is not special, at least not more than you are. The only difference between you and him is that he knows that he is special. Does that make sense? Are you special? Raise your hand if you're special. Are you doing it to please me or you feel special? Do you feel special? Keep your hands right up. You are unique. It's not a hippie thinking there's no one having the exact same path that you had. There's no one having the same fingerprints that you have. Even twins have different fingerprints. We all have a unique path, a unique journey, and that makes us unique in our way of contributing. So I just want for you to think for 2 seconds and tell me about useless stuff that has been created. People work and create useless stuff. Can you think of one? Just shout one. Smartwatches. Okay, we can't think smartwatches is maybe not the best impact we can create on the world. Even more useless.
Those trainers that have lights, and, they have music and
yes, I'm 100% with you. We don't need that. We can need that, but that's not the priority the humanity needs right now. Another thing. Straws. Even though we say we keep straws, why do we need so many brands of straws? Why do they need to have different patterns? So it means that there's someone paid to design a new color. You have the one with the stripes on, the one that are red. Who cares? And that's why I stopped my first career. I was an engineer, I was coding, and I realized that I'm creating useless value because I'm creating something that makes people addicted to video games. I say, that's not what I want. That's not what the world needs. And some people say, yeah, you're an utopist. I say, if you're not, you're screwing the world. If you're not doing something that the world really needs, you're losing your time, you're losing everyone lose time. Does that make sense? There are people designing phone cases. How many design of phone cases? We can use these smart people to design more useful things. Do you want to create useful things?
Yes.
You're not sure? Is it you're not sure you don't believe you can? Because I believe you can. So do you want to create something really useful for humanity?
Yes.
When you mix your superpowers with your values, what is really important for you and the impact you want to create, then you get your mission. So I want you to stand up once again. And I want you to feel right now in your body that you have a full potential that you have not reached. And there's a usefulness of the things you create in that world that you have not reached. But I want you to feel them because they're available right now. They're here in the world. And they're here in you. Do you feel them? Yes. Do you feel that potential that you have it to do much more, to create a much bigger impact?
Yes. Yes.
So I want you to say, I'm a superhero. Because if you have this full potential available and you have this impact available, you're a fucking superhero. So let's do it together. We're going to breathe in, and when we breathe out together, really even louder, because I want you to feel it this time. Just feel that you're a superhero. We're going to shout together. Alright? Breathe in. Did you feel it?
Yes.
Let's do it again then. Breathe in. And I want you to do it one last time, but this time the O, we make it last. We want to set up on the O. Okay? Breathe in. Alright, sit down. So thank you for being Superheroes Awakening. But before I conclude, there are two things I want to insist on. My work, coaching and doing the events, what I realize is even when people are aware of that and that they can get to that superhero level, that it's available and that every single human has that, I haven't found someone who doesn't have that. The problem is at some point is the energy. I call that the chi. Like in Qigong, Tai Chi, it's the vital energy. We run out of it. So it's really important that while you grow in your potential and your impact, that you find a way to maintain your energy. To do that, take some time, like find the balance between not getting started and getting burned out. And there's a fine line and it's fine balance. Don't be killing yourself, but don't get started. So it's really important to find that. And that's really has become the main focus of the coaching I do and the events I do, has been making sure this chi is always at the maximum. And that's why you make you stand up, because when you do that, your chi just rises. Not only because you do it, because you are feeling the energy of the group. So those are the things I want to insist on. Surround yourself with people that invite you to go reaching that full potential, and make sure you do that for them. Find a coach, a mentor that can lead you into that journey. Create a mastermind among you, like gather in a small group and make sure you reach for the full potential. Find the 5 people you can create a group with. And I'm sure while I'm speaking you can think of these people. But make the time, a weekly meeting or bi-monthly meeting. So now, to conclude, I just have an invitation. My invitation is to go into deep introspection as often as possible. Ask yourself the question I asked you, to find out what your superpowers are, what your values are, and to see what is the impact you want to create in the world and not wait for others to do it for you. And for that, I invite you again, find a partner, an accountability partner, and say, let's do that and have this chat once a week or once a month at the very least. Find a coach, find a group, and if you want to me to help you in that, just start with joining the group Superhero Tribe on Facebook. It's an open group. I'm sharing videos and content, and I want you also to share good value that you think is superhero minded in that group. It's open group on Facebook. Then you can see the other events. I'm hosting a lot of free events with my partner Daria. Some are coming in October, and also you can organize a small group for me to coach you if you want to take really that journey further quicker. But really make sure you don't forget that you have an inner superhero and that you have this potential, because otherwise you will be not living at your fullest and not creating the fullest impact, and that would be a loss for you and the whole humanity. I want to thank you very much.
So Sébastian, we have like 6 minutes still left for questions, and I would like to open up to yes. You can just take them as you.
His hand is higher. He's more committed.
What is your special moment where you decided to unleash your superhero, your inner superhero?
Really good question. Obviously there are moments, but it's also an ongoing journey. So we can highlight these moments. I think the beginning of the year for me was a big crisis moment, because after 2 years of traveling, I arrived in Lisbon and things were not working out the way I wanted. And actually, a friend of mine came for 10 days, and it was coaching 24/7. And that hurt. That really hurt. If you go through a proper coaching, at some point it hurts. But what I felt was I was giving birth to a new version of me, and pushed me to aim higher, and letting go of some limiting beliefs. And from that, it was a repetition of moments that led me to that. But it has always been an obsession. When I quit being an engineer, was I'm not serving a great purpose. When I stopped coaching languages, because I speak 12, so for years I've been coaching people to learn languages, but I said at some point, I can do more for them than just help them learn another language. So it's an ongoing journey with some hard hits in my face, always received with love and gratitude for these moments. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, that's sure.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much for the talk, for the really inspiring talk. How do you approach for yourself the question about what the world needs? So how do you decide that?
Really good question. So again, I will go back to speaking and listening. So that's a moment of you, a repeated you moment with 1, 2 more people, and saying, finding always this obsession of optimization, of finding the 20% that will create 80% of the impact. But from the way that's the way I approach it for me, but it's really what I realize when in my coaching and the workshops is the combination of the superpowers and the values, because your superpowers inform you a lot about your values. So then you try and you fail and you adapt. For a year and a half, 2 years, I've been trying to push for public speaking, and the world didn't want that. Really, I found I know they need it. I know it's mandatory, but people are not ready. So I started to change my approach by adapting, and by asking questions. That's where the listen part is. What is the problem you have right now? Because public speaking comes really further onto the journey when you're ready to share your message. But for that, some people don't even acknowledge that they have a message. So I came back to the idea first, earlier stage. What is it people need before that? I mean, phone cases are great, but I think there are other priorities to solve before we create another phone case. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sort of. No, but it's good. I would say it's constant adaptation. You try something, and then you go improving based on that. Don't aim for the final solution, saying, I have the solution that will change the world. It's good to have this question, and to discuss that in groups, in mastermind groups, but also come back to what is it that I can try and start right now, and see. Then you adapt. Okay, actually, it's not what they need. There's something deeper, and then you adapt, and you just go bouncing. For me, it's like you first shoot in a random direction, and as you hit walls, you go to the laser, and you put. Well, that's why I'm going. It's not instant. It's an incremental process. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Questions? A girl. Don't let always a girl speak.
You talked about maintaining your energy level.
Yeah.
Finding your chi. How do I do that?
Really good question. I would say the first thing in every process you might find I repeat the same pattern. The first step is awareness. Where is your energy now? When you feel like you're still pushing because your mind is saying, I have to do this and I have to do that. Oh, what if I try this? And to have a part of you say, no, you can't take it anymore. But for that, you need to have this moment of going out and seeing the situation from outside. Where am I at? Is it and it can be on different levels. For me, there are 3 levels of energy. It's body, mind, and soul. So maybe it's your body that doesn't give the activity that it requires. Maybe it's your mind that is too active and needs to rest. And emotionally, you're not paying attention to your emotions. In the process, it's also, if you're pushing hard on one of these 3, often mind, because society wants us to push a lot on mind. So we're let's do the thing, think. Your mind gets tired, but your body is lacking activity. So you feel that you're not tired, but you are. So the best way to do it is to get your body tired. So then you balance, because then when your body is tired and your emotions are as tired as your mind says, oh, I can take a rest. It's balancing. And the way I approach it is, if I put my finger right here on any of your shoulders, and if I leave it for a long time, and I remove it, you still feel the pressure here. And it's like really working hard, and that's your mind, and you're pushing. You can do this and rest and remove the tension created here, or you can just push on the other side and balance it out. If that makes sense. You can try that at some point. Just do that with each other, and you will feel that there's something created here. And if you do this, it's kind of releases the tension.
Like, we're talking about values as well. Do you have like certain areas or higher goals that you want to achieve, or that in which areas you want to change the world? Like, I don't know, environmental problems or...
Me?
Yeah, your personal. Want to change.
There are so many things I want to change.
What was like the top 5?
So I go to change all the things I want to change, is to change the people that can change it. It's my delegation. So I want to remove plastic from the planet altogether. I can invest my whole career in removing plastic, but if I remove plastic, I cannot tackle the other problems I see in society. So I want to educate and help people that want to create these changes that I want to see in the world, and that's really fundamental for me. If you don't align with my values and what we want to create, I'm not coaching you. Or I will, hiding the fact that my only goal is to change your values and your purpose. Because I think the biggest problem is we live in an illusion of separation between I and the rest of the world. And it's not true. We're all living on the same planet. So Portuguese and foreigners and white and black and humans and natures, Earth and the rest of the world, it's an illusion. We all live in the same thing. And once people understand that, all the other impacts will be like as a ripple effect. So that's my way of creating a ripple effect, as saying if everyone reaches their full potential and make sure they create the biggest impact they can in the world, all the other things are side effects that will disappear. Does that answer your question?
Kind of.
I don't want to do it because if I do it, I can focus on working on all the other humans. And if they can remove the plastic from me, because I empower them to believe that they can have this impact in the world, then I can work on someone else that works on discrimination, or works on all kind of pollution and waste. My biggest thing is waste. I feel like the biggest waste is human potential. If we remove human potential, it disappear. I think that's it. Thank you for your question. And we'll be hanging around. So if you have more questions you didn't want to ask in front of everyone, or you don't find relevant, I'll be sticking around a bit. So feel free to talk to me.
So thank you very much, Sébastian. And I think you made the first step, like to empower people, like to tackle the problems of the world. So that's really nice. And I'm also really happy to know that what I always thought was annoying about me is actually a superpower. And so now I just have to find out how I use that. Again, thank you very much for your time and for being here. Again, big hand.
I'm done. It's your job to change the world.
Okay. Thank you very much for all being here. Now we have